Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As some of you might know, I'm Tony from Mercy Perrysburg Family Medicine, and as we do the third Wednesday of each month, give a talk on a different medical topic. Today, we have Keegan with us, and she's with pharmacy at the University of Toledo, part of our pharmacy team this month, and we're gonna talk about nutrition and aging. Some of this information may be very basic, and yeah, I already know this, but as we get older, we have to start thinking about our nutrition for a couple of different reasons. Number one, we don't eat like we used to. My father-in-law, who's 81 this Saturday, says to me, I don't understand how you eat so much or eat 3 meals a day. I don't eat like that anymore. And so he cuts back, or, you know, you might have difficulty because of your teeth and that you just can't eat things the way you used to, or things don't taste the same. So maybe you're losing some weight. Some of us like to lose weight. For some people, it's a little bit more concerning about how much weight we lose. And so Keegan's going to talk about some of that stuff, and then probably talk a little bit about things like Boost and Ensure and other vitamins and nutrients that we got to make sure we're taking. Some people ask, well, what happens if I'm taking certain supplements and I'm taking too much? Is that gonna hurt my body? She'll talk a little bit about that. And then she's gonna focus at the end on just some recommendations about how much we should really be taking in. I know they do a nice job here with lunch preparation and that. They typically have somebody like a dietitian or that kind of oversees the menus, but when we're at home, some of the things that we should be thinking about, and then finally some tips for healthy eating. So I'm gonna turn it over to Keegan, and then we'll stick around in case you have any personal questions.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Tony. I appreciate it. So like Tony said, my name is Keegan. I'm gonna be talking to you about nutrition and aging today. So like Tony said, sometimes as we get older, we don't like to have as many meals throughout the day. Maybe we're cutting back to 2 or even just 1 meal a day. So it's really important that we look out for some signs of malnutrition, just signs that we're not absorbing those nutrients that we really should be. So this could be a loss of appetite, a decreased food intake, or any sudden unintended weight loss. So what we should be eating is really dependent on our medical conditions and our medications. It's important to talk to our doctors regarding the best diet for you. So as we age, we get a lot more chronic medical conditions that pop up. So it's really important that we're really tailoring our diet to those medical conditions as well. Our nutrition needs change as we age as well. We may become less active, our metabolisms tend to slow down, and our ability to absorb some nutrients becomes less efficient. So this means that the food we choose to eat and the amount of nutrients in those foods are even more important now than ever. You can use MyPlate. Have you guys heard of the MyPlate? It's a big plate that shows you how many veggies and fruits and the protein that you should be. I feel like everybody's seen it at one point or another. There's a picture about it on the back that we'll go through, but you can use MyPlate to guide what you eat and what you buy when you're shopping, or if you have somebody else that does your shopping for you. As a reminder for the foods that you should be eating that need to be rich in our minerals and our nutrients. Boost and Ensure protein shakes are a great way to incorporate protein into our diet, especially if we're not feeling as hungry. It's a great way to add in calories and protein in something that's smaller and not as hard to digest. Remember to include any physical activity such as walking, climbing stairs, or yard work as part of your daily routine. You should discuss proper diet and exercise with your doctor because there may be some restrictions that you need to be aware of based on your medical conditions. If you gain or lose weight regularly, this may be a sign of malnutrition. So make sure you're talking to your doctor about that. If you're getting on the scale and you're noticing, oh man, I'm really down a few pounds and I haven't really been meaning to lose any weight, it's really important that you bring that up with your doctor. So why are we concerned about nutrition in older adults? Studies show that 71% of hospital older adults are at a nutritional risk or are malnourished already. Nutritional needs are determined by a multitude of factors, so these can include chronic medical conditions, maybe diabetes or high blood pressure, an individual's level of activity. Maybe we're not able to move around as well as we used to be able to. Some people are bound to wheelchairs, so they can't get around as easily. How much energy we're burning, our caloric requirements, the ability to prepare, ingest, and digest our food, and then personal food preferences. So maybe some foods that used to taste great don't taste as great anymore. You're having some taste changes, some smell changes. That's really common as we age as well. Physical function, length of stay, and complication of hospitalizations also have an impact on our patients' outcomes. Malnutrition can lead to increased falls, weight loss, fatigue, weakness, poor memory, a weakened immune system, and poor wound healing, which are also some things that we experience as we get older already. So we don't want to have those exacerbated by being malnourished or not having proper nutrition intake. Causes of weight loss due to inadequate nutrient intake can be caused by chewing difficulty or oral pain that can lead to decreased food intake. Sometimes we have dentures that don't fit properly. Our teeth just hurt when we eat certain foods. So that's a really big issue for a lot of people when they age. Age-related taste and smell sensitivity that we talked about a little bit earlier. Loss of lean body mass. There's also a psychological aspect. Depression is one of the leading causes of decreased oral intake, especially in our older population. There is also comorbid infections, inflammatory conditions, or malignancy that can decrease our appetite. Medications can also be a big role in this as well. So some medications can limit the body's ability to absorb vitamins and electrolytes, especially medications like metformin for diabetes, pantoprazole or Protonix, that's for reflux or GERD, and then diuretics can also make us pee out a lot of the electrolytes that are really important for our body. The older you get, the less protein you absorb due to decreased stomach acid, and less vitamin B1 and B12 are absorbed and can lead to difficulty concentrating, weakness, and problems with balance that we don't want to have. Dysphagia or trouble swallowing is another thing that can affect the way that we eat food. So patients that have had previous strokes, patients that have Parkinson's, this can be a really big issue for them. And then there's a really big social component as well. So isolation at meal times is huge for our aging population. 1/3 of 65-year-olds and older live alone, which decreases food enjoyment and caloric intake. Several studies show that older adults who eat in the presence of others consume more than those who eat alone. I know for me, I always like eating with more people. For some reason, the food just tastes better to me. I don't know if it's just in my head, but it's always nice to have somebody to eat your food with, because then you're enjoying spending time with other people, you're talking, and then you're still getting those calories that you really need. Isolation can also lead to vitamin D deficiency from a lack of sunlight. So going outside for short amounts of time each day can help with this, especially because we live in Ohio where it's cloudy a lot. And I know I have vitamin D deficiency too, and I'm fairly young. So it's really important that we try to get outside. We can even incorporate some of that walking and exercise into it where we can tolerate it. Financial aspect is another thing. So a greater portion of older adults live near the poverty line compared with the general population. A lot of us are on fixed income, so it's harder to be able to get those nutrient-rich foods rather than getting something that's like cheap and quick that may not have as many vitamins and minerals that we're looking for. So individuals on fixed incomes may use money previously spent on food, but now they're using those on medications. So maybe you're able to spend a lot more on your groceries, but now you're having more medications for your health conditions that you need to budget money towards. So now we're gonna go over some recommendations for what we should be eating so that we can make sure we're getting the proper vitamins and minerals throughout our diet. So first is gonna be low and non-fat dairy products. We recommend that you eat or drink 3 or more servings of low or non-fat dairy products. If you have trouble digesting milk products, you can try lactose-free dairy products or add lactase to milk. So this would be about a cup of low or non-fat milk or yogurt, and then 1.5 ounces of low-fat cheese. Next is gonna be our dried beans, nuts, fish, poultry, lean meat, and eggs. We recommend eating 2 or more servings of these protein-rich foods. Beans are a great source of fiber, protein, and other nutrients. You can also choose fish, skinless poultry, lean meat, or eggs to get in those protein requirements. So we recommend about 1 to 1.5 cups of cooked lentils or dried beans, 4 tablespoons of peanut butter. I think that one is the best one for providing as much protein as you can because everybody loves peanut butter. And then you only have to eat a few tablespoons of it too, and it really has a lot of protein packed into a small amount. 2 to 3 ounces of fish, skinless poultry or lean meat. You can bake, broil, or grill it, and then 1/2 cup of tuna, 1 egg, or 1/4 cup of an egg substitute. Now going on to our fruits and vegetables, we recommend bright colored vegetables. Eating 3 or more servings of these, they can either be fresh, frozen, or canned. We want to look for dark green, red, or orange and yellow vegetables for the best nutrients. So those colors are really what we're looking out for when determining how much nutrients are really in them. So this would be about a cup of romaine lettuce, 1/2 cup of winter squash or sweet potato, 3/4 cup of a 100% vegetable juice, 1/2 cup of carrots, or 1/2 cup of cooked spinach. Now on to our fruit. We recommend eating 2 or more servings of deep colored fruit that can be fresh, frozen, dried, or canned. It can be packed in juice. Those with deep colors, again, have more nutrients, and then we want to choose 100% fruit juice rather than juice that might have a lot of added sugars in it. So make sure you're looking for 100% fruit juice if that's something that you're going to be using. Juices can be fortified with calcium and provide a non-dairy calcium source. So an example would be a medium peach or banana, half a cup of berries or sliced melon, a quarter cup of dried apricots or raisins, or 3/4 cup of that 100% orange juice. Now looking at grains, we recommend full, enriched, or fortified grains and cereals. We want to get 6 or more servings of high fiber, fortified, or whole grains such as brown rice, whole wheat pasta, or bran cereal. So this could be half a cup of raisin bran or oatmeal, a slice of whole wheat bread, or half a cup of cooked enriched pasta or rice. Now, water and liquids are a big thing. It's really important that we consume 8 ounce glasses of water or beverages such as fruit or vegetable juice. And again, that wants to be that 100% fruit or vegetable juice. Milk, reduced sodium soup, or tea or coffee each day. As we get older, we tend to have a decreased sense of thirst and we're more likely to become dehydrated, which can really have a big impact on our kidneys. It's also important that you talk to your doctor and have the right idea of the amount of fluid intake that is appropriate for your health conditions. Some people with heart issues are on fluid restrictions, so they can't really drink as much water throughout the day. So it's really important that you talk to your doctor about how much is right for you. Alcoholic beverages should also not count towards your water or liquid intakes because those can have a diuretic effect. It makes you pee a little bit more. So it actually kind of counteracts what you're drinking. We talked a little bit about vitamin D deficiency earlier. So this is very common in the older population, also in the younger population. I have vitamin D deficiency and I have to take some supplements as well. So vitamin D supplements or fortified foods should supply about 600 to 1,000 international units of vitamin D per day. So we don't measure it in grams or milligrams, it's measured in units. So for older adults to help prevent or slow bone loss, we're looking for that 600 to 1,000 international units a day. Additionally, an adequate amount of calcium should be provided daily. Over-the-counter vitamin D and calcium supplements are available at most grocery stores and pharmacies. So you should talk to your doctor or pharmacist and figure out which dosage is right for you based on your medical conditions and your current health. Now we're going to go into a few tips for healthful eating. We have the modified food pyramid for our adults age 60 and over. So at the top, we want to use these items sparingly. That would be our fats, oils, and sweets. I know those are often the ones that we kind of gravitate towards for the sweetness. We like the taste of maybe candies and cookies and everything like that, but we want to use those sparingly throughout our diet. Sugar adds calories, but doesn't really add any nutrients to our diet. So we want to limit foods and beverages that have a lot of high added sugar in them. Saturated and trans fats raise our levels of low density lipoprotein. I know that's a lot of big words, but those are our bad cholesterols. Meat and full fat dairy products contain saturated fat. Trans fats are found in traditional stick margarines, shortenings, and hydrogenated vegetable oils, and foods made with these fats. We want to choose vegetable oils such as canola oil, soybean oil, corn, and olive oil, and use tub margarine instead of our regular stick butter. Salt is also something that can raise blood pressure in some people, so it's important that we prepare foods with less salt or sodium and try to choose reduced sodium soups and reduced sodium frozen entrees when we're looking at foods like that. It's really important that you discuss with your doctor what diet is right for you. Maybe some people have heard of the DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet. It's just important that you talk to your doctor and have those conversations about what kind of foods you should be limiting, if you should be limiting your sodium intake, if you should be limiting your fluid intake. So just having that open conversation with your doctor is really important. And then we talked a little bit about the My Plate for older adults earlier. So half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables, about a quarter should be grains, a little less than a quarter should be protein, and then save a small amount for dairy. And then we talked about the 8 ounce cups of water for your fluids. What questions, if any, can I answer for you?
It's really hard to get all those in
Yeah,
a day.
yeah, definitely.
So is there like the vitamins. that you-
Multivitamins are really
Just a
great.
multivitamin?
Yeah, so they usually have like a woman's one a day multivitamin that has all those kind of nutrients and minerals that you need throughout the day. That's a great source of it. For protein, I'd recommend those Booster and Sure Shakes. Those do a really great job. They also have a few minerals in them as well. And
Okay,
vitamins.
I've been doing the Atkins one.
Yeah, those are great too.
Because they're high in protein.
Yeah.
So when I know I'm not gonna eat something, I drink one of those.
Yeah, that's-
The day.
Yeah, that's a great way to incorporate more of the protein in your diet, especially if you don't plan on having an actual meal. It's a great way to have like a quick something that you can just drink and not have to worry about.
The other thing is, it's hard to cook for one person.
It is.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Mhm.
It's hard to cook for one and it's hard to, like you said, to get all that in one. And for other individuals who are, you see more people that are taking on vegan diets and things like that. It's even more challenging when you're trying to eliminate things like this and well, this whole quarter of the plate.
Exactly.
And where do you go from there? So like Keegan said, I think it's important that you know how you're feeling, you know your health, you know your medications, and you're having that conversation with your primary care physician to know what are your goals. You know, there are some people who, I just met with a 91-year-old the other day, and she's just losing a lot of weight. And at this point in time, I say, eat what you want. If you want to go through the McDonald's drive-through 3 times during the day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if that's what tasted good to you at that stage in life, then go for it. But there's other things that, if we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, we need, and we know we still have X amount of years to live, we need to think about what are our goals and what's working best for it. But you're right, it's hard to cook for one. And it's easy to open up a can of soup and, do something like that, but as she said, we really gotta, or lunch meat or something like that, we gotta regulate how much of that we're taking in, because a lot of those things are high in sodium.
That's my next thing.
And-
Everything has so much.
Right.
salt in it.
And it's just the nature of how we've come with processed foods.
Mhm. And it is okay to have those like frozen meals or those cans of soup every once in a while, but just being aware of the amount of sodium. So a lot of places have like reduced sodium soups or reduced sodium frozen entrees. They still have quite a bit, but if you're kind of regulating how much you're having throughout the week, then it's not as much of an impact on your levels.
Now, at my work, when we sit down and eat lunch, there's a lot of people that eat those frozen meals, but they also have a bag of frozen vegetables as well. So they'll add more of this into some of this to kind of supplement it. And it's again, what works for you, what's best for you. And you have to ease into things. When we lived a certain lifestyle and eaten a certain way for so long, it's hard to make that transition of, okay, here's what I've been doing, now here's what I should be doing, and kind of, taking that route.
Not only that, but when you cook for a family or even two, cooking for one is completely different.
Absolutely.
You're either eating the food for
Right,
a whole week,
yep,
right
exactly.
now, or you're cutting it and freezing some.
And let's be honest, leftovers after day 2,
Try this.
not very appealing for some people. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for your time. Hopefully, some of this has been helpful.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, at least one person earlier, next month, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's and dementia. And I hope you like seeing the space because I'll be the one giving the talk. So in the meantime, wish you a good month. Hopefully, the weather continues to get a little warmer, that we can, in addition to having good nutrition, put a little bit of activity into our daily lives. So thank you for your time. Have a good
Thank
month.
you.
Appreciate it.
I heard too that, Aldi is a good place to grocery shop for, they have like, they're a UK based grocery store, so a lot of their food is like, most of it is not as processed as like if you go to Walmart or Kroger or something, and it's fairly cheaper too.
Yeah, very affordable. And I've actually read a couple